Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Lichfield series, a district of Staffordshire containing 28 civil parishes of England. It's a gorgeous area too, so let's see which bit we're admiring today. Welcome back to Lichfield in Staffordshire, everybody. Now, do you remember the Catton episode in South Derbyshire and how difficult that one was to cover, mainly because most of it was private and off limits? Well, it's the same story here. Unfortunately, a lot of this one will have to be done using pictures and whatever else, because I cannot access the main estate or even the church in this place. I did ask, just went into the estate office just now to see if I could, but they have a wedding here today and they have a wedding for most of the week apparently, so I'm out of luck. This is Thorpe Constantine. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Well, this one won't be a normal episode, that's for sure. There's no drive-in today because it was impossible to do one. Instead, here's a map of the parish boundaries. Thorpe Constantine covers quite a large area, but the village itself only occupies one corner of that area, the eastern side as you look at this map. The western portion covers two other settlements, Syerscote and Statfold, former civil parishes in their own right until they were joined with Thorpe Constantine in 1934. Effectively, both of those are abandoned villages, but we'll touch more on Statfold later in this video. There are only 3 public roads in the whole parish, and trying to film anything from them would have been pointless. All the interesting stuff is on private land. Did that stop me from making this episode though? You can bet it didn't. So this is the main entrance of the Thorpe estate, which contains all the historic and interesting landmarks here. They include Thorpe Hall, the Church of St Constantine, Constantine House, a recording studio and Thorpe Garden. It has a lot to see. Unfortunately, getting access to all of that requires permission from the estate office, and despite asking for it, I was unable to secure it. Here's a little drive around the edge of the estate to show you how much of it you can see from the road. The answer is not a lot. Only one of 3 public roads in the parish, this skirts around the edge of the estate before running to the B5493 at Seckington. One of the other public roads runs through the abandoned village of Statfold and connects the B5493 to Clifton Camville. The third passes between Wigginton and Hornton, taking in the also abandoned hamlet of Syerscote. Not even the Church of St Constantine can be accessed without the permission of the Thorpe estate. The gates we're arriving at now, though, are where you would go to visit the church, if you were able to. So, kind of snookered, I considered abandoning this whole episode, but you know me by now, that's not what I do. At the centre of the Thorpe estate is the manor house. This is Thorpe Hall, a privately owned Georgian-style country mansion and Grade 2 listed building. William Ives, a successful Leicestershire vintner, bought Thorpe in 1631. His daughter and co-heir Jane married Richard Inge of Leicester, and the house became the Inge family home. The Inges were a prominent local family, 5 members of which served as High Sheriff of Staffordshire. Ives built a 3-storey, 5-bayed mansion at Thorpe in 1651. In 1790, when another Inge family seat at Drakelow in Derbyshire was abandoned, Thorpe Hall was enlarged and improved. The family remained in occupation until at least 1925. Following the death of Hilda Mary Inge in 1953, the estate passed to the Lillingston family of Lochalsh. George David Inge Innes Lillingston was High Sheriff of Staffordshire in 1966. The property is now occupied by Hugh Inge Innes Lillingston and his wife Catherine. The estate is much more than just Thorpe Hall. This building is Constantine House. Built in the Victorian era, this was originally designed to take generous care of the estate management and staff. Sitting on a prominent position within the estate farm, building the house was a labour of love. It has large windows, high ceilings, and a rich red brick exterior. Today, the building has been turned into a guest house with some 21 rooms. Its historic features have been sensitively balanced with modern additions, including all new bathrooms, a welcoming reception area, cosy reading snug, and a lounge-cum-dining room. The renovation cost £2 million. Thorpe's farm is called Home Farm, which is managed by James Daw and his family, producing potatoes for McCain, Walkers and McDonald's, wheat for Warburtons, oats for Quaker, and beef for Waitrose. Recently, Home Farm won the McDonald's Farm Innovation Award and the Golden Loaf for Warburton's Best UK Milling Wheat. As with many country houses, the historic parkland surrounding the hall is an integral part of the English countryside, forming a unique contribution to its character, its biodiversity, and cultural heritage. Thorpe's parkland includes 30 acres of wildflower meadows and 300 native specimen trees, while over 5 miles of additional hedgerows have been laid, providing vital habitats and food sources for wildlife. It has a 25-year forestry plan to manage its woodlands, and the estate also promotes an understanding of the countryside by hosting farm visits for local underprivileged children. Thorpe Estate is a keen advocate for solar energy. In partnership with Elgin Energy, a solar farm is soon to be built here, located some 1.5 kilometres southwest of Clifton Camville. The project will cover approximately 176 acres and will feature ground-mounted solar panels which have a projected lifetime of 40 years. The farm will generate approximately 49.9 million kilowatt hours per annum, which is enough to power 14,000 homes. That's the equivalent of 43% of all the households in Lichfield district. If you're a keen angler, you can fish at Thorpe Estate. This is Thorpe Fisheries, which has 3 spring-fed lakes and over 60 pegs available along its reed-lined margins. It has disabled access, toilets, and convenient parking too. Also on the estate, you'll find Thorpe Garden. Run by Cripps & Co, Thorpe Garden is licensed for civil marriage ceremonies, with space for up to 140 seated guests. There are rave reviews of this place online, so if you're getting hitched, it's a good suggestion. Alternatively, they can host wedding celebrations in its barn following a ceremony in one of the local churches. In the grounds of Thorpe Hall is the parish church dedicated to St Constantine, and this is a Grade 2 listed building. It's been an estate church since the 18th century. These days it's only occasionally used for services. It is, however, a substantial building with a separate nave and chancel. It was extensively rebuilt in 1883, but parts of it go back to the 14th century, including the tower and its spire. As owners of the estate, the Inge family often supplied the rectors too. It's not the only church in the parish. Statfold also has the Church of All Saints, but it too is privately owned. It's actually a small chapel with most of its fabric dating from the 14th century. There were some alterations in the 17th century and a full restoration in 1906. The church consists of a nave and a chancel in one continuous unit. In its churchyard is the Wulferstan Memorial, which commemorates members of the Wulferstan family we learned about in the Shuttington episode. It's a pedestal tomb made of stone and has the carved head of a ram on each corner. Both the church and this memorial are within the grounds of Statfold Hall. This is a small country house which was built in around 1700, although it incorporates some earlier material. It was extended and altered in 1777 and 1819. And lastly, Thorpe Estate also has a recording studio. Named The Zoo, it's built within a converted grain store and offers a spacious live room, a very comfortable control room, a games and chill out room, kitchen facilities, and its own private parking. It used to be based in Nuneaton in the 1960s before it moved to Thorpe Constantine. When it was there, it was on the site of a former zoo, hence the name. As well as recording various bands over the years, countless pieces of TV, advert and film music have all been recorded at the zoo, including for MTV, Volvo, Nivea, Braun and BMW, to name but a few. And that's it folks, not your standard episode by any means. However, this still does count as a legitimate parish visit because I set foot within the boundaries. That said, I opted to add another Lichfield Parish onto the end of this run to make up for this one in some small way. Stay tuned, it's coming later today. Thanks for watching this video folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already, it really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.